As we stand at the threshold of 2024, the question on everyone's mind is, what does the future hold for the US economy? The baseline economic forecast for the United States in 2024 is looking quite positive. Experts are predicting a growth of 2%, with no anticipated recessions on the horizon. This is excellent news for the nation, as steady growth is an indicator of economic health and stability. On the other hand, inflation is expected to hover around 2%. While this is a normal and healthy rate, it's crucial to keep a watchful eye on this figure to prevent it from spiraling out of control. The unemployment rate is another key indicator of the economic climate, and it's forecasted to remain around 4%. This is a relatively low rate, suggesting that job opportunities will continue to be abundant for the American workforce. However, these projections aren't set in stone, and there are potential risks that could divert us from this path. These include factors like consumer spending trends, capital spending challenges, and international trade dynamics, all of which can have a significant impact on economic performance. Despite potential challenges, demand growth in the US is expected to support 2% real GDP growth in 2024. The pulse of any economy lies in its consumer sector. So how does this vital sector fare in the 2024 economic scenario? Well, we may be looking at a slower pace of consumer spending growth. Why, you ask? This could be due to the gradual decrease in job gains and the tightening of lending standards. Yes, it seems like consumers may have to tighten their belts a bit. But wait, it's not all doom and gloom. There are potential silver linings on the horizon that could offset these challenges. One such ray of hope comes from the realm of artificial intelligence. Increased spending in this innovative field could help balance the scales. Moreover, the federal government isn't sitting idle either. It's pushing incentives for semiconductor manufacturing, which could also contribute to the economic stability. So, even though we might see some slowdown in consumer spending, the emergence of innovative sectors like artificial intelligence and semiconductor manufacturing could provide the necessary balance. It's a fascinating dance of factors, isn't it? International trade and government spending form key components of the economic picture. Let's delve into their prospects for 2024. International trade, a significant driver of the economy, may face some headwinds. The high value of the dollar and a somewhat sluggish global growth could potentially create a drag on growth. In simple terms, a high dollar makes our goods more expensive to foreign buyers, which could dampen export demand. On the other hand, government spending, another crucial piece of the puzzle, is expected to slow down. This change could be due to a multitude of factors, including budget constraints and the winding down of certain stimulus measures. It's important to remember, though, that these are forecasts, not certainties. The interplay between international trade and government spending, along with other factors, weaves a complex economic tapestry. Although international trade and government spending could pose challenges, they are part of a complex economic tapestry. Two critical indicators of an economy's health are employment and inflation. What do these indicators predict for 2024? Well, the crystal ball of economic forecast predicts a fairly stable landscape for the job market. Unemployment is expected to hover between 3.4% and 4%, with any growth in employment likely to stem from an expansion in the labor force itself. This could be supported by productivity gains and a stronger influx of immigration. Now let's talk about inflation. Here's where the forecast gets interesting. The general consensus is that we'll see a continued downward trend in inflation, with declines across the board in food, energy, and shelter costs. But that's not all. The other aspects of inflation, those pesky ones driven by restricted supply and supply chain hiccups, they're also expected to simmer down. So, in the chess game of economics, the pawns of employment and inflation seem to be moving towards a position of stability for 2024. While the unemployment rate is projected to remain stable, inflation is expected to continue its downward trend. As we wrap up our overview of the U.S. economic outlook for 2024, let's summarize the key points. The baseline projection predicts 2% growth with no anticipated recessions. Consumer spending is expected to slow down as job gains diminish and lending standards tighten. International trade could put a slight drag on growth due to a high dollar and sluggish global growth. Government spending will likely slow, but a counterbalance may be seen in capital spending, driven by artificial intelligence and federal incentives for semiconductor manufacturing. As for employment, the unemployment rate is projected to stay between 3.4% and 4%, with growth in the labor force being the only source of employment growth. Inflation is anticipated to continue its downward trend, with food, energy, and shelter inflation all projected to decline. In conclusion, the forecast for 2024 is overall positive, but there are potential risks that could trigger a recession. As always, the resilience of the American economy will be tested in the face of these challenges. That concludes the video. Thanks for watching, and please don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to the channel. See you in the next video.